do you think that there's anything wrong with capitalism as it is?
Wrong with capitalism. I mean, capitalism is a weird word. It just means so much to different people, and there are all sorts of feelings and all sorts of rigorous ideas associated with them, and not so rigorous ideas.
Mm-hmm. So okay, let's start with that. What are some issues people see with capitalism?
I think to a lot of people, they hear capitalism and they think greedy people in some boardroom.
Exploitation, I think.
Right, exploitation at the expense of important human things like, the disadvantaged being exploited and the environment and all this. Yeah.
So primarily the nothing wrong with the direct idea of capitalism, just more like the method of how some people go above and beyond on the hustle to damage other things.
Honestly, I don't think they even think about the utility of capitalism. I think they just think exploitation and greed.
Okay.
They don't really realize that, in order to actually build technology or get things happening in society, you have to have companies. People have to invest in them. They have to make profits.
Yeah, one of the best things about capitalism is that it has it has a really intended goal of you're just trying to make more, produce more type of thing. Seems to me as always about growth. Is one of those central tenets of capitalism. And then it also encourages competition. And so in this framework, you get essentially meritocracy by democracy, because if people are consuming, they have power to exercise their voice through purchasing or whatever like that. But that's actually where one of the biggest issues of capitalism comes into play. But anyways, one of the benefits of capitalism, in my opinion, is this encouraging of competition between private enterprise. And if you're actually going to be capitalists and say oh yeah, capitalism is the best, you have to make it so that there's political systems at play that encourage this kind of competition and discourage monopolizing and stuff like that. So I think capitalism in itself, at its purest, is really good because it encourages competition. But in the forms that we have it nowadays, and the way that we've kind of been working with it, it's kind of been corrupted by this greed and exploitative process. And so it kind of makes it seem to me that it's run adrift, and it's now large monopolies like Apple will just completely own an entire market. Google, there's these $1 trillion companies, Amazon is going to be the first $1 trillion company. They have the GDP of countries now. So that's where kind of it gets into a problem, is where capitalism, you get these enterprises that are so powerful that they just supersede the framework that they're supposed to be operating within.
It seems like a discussion on regulation might happen in this podcast today. Because free market ideals are great, but the incentive structures of the free market don't always align with the needs of society.
I think that's a good distinction. So we should be talking about free market enterprise rather than just the broad word capitalism, I think, because capitalism has a lot of those connotations of exploitation and stuff like that, because the systems that we've been working kind of enabled those in a way. So it's not a problem of capitalism. It's a problem of regulation.
So free market systems, just in terms of you being able to do what you want in terms of your business in the world.
Yeah, and the government doesn't impede you or favor one company over another, for example, just because they're Apple, something like that.
Now is so this could be kind of maybe a ideology statement, but there seems to be a lot of animosity around if you had a free market and any sort of business gets larger. And I kind of have two questions